Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary's Magic Stream on today's Sunday, December 10th, 2023. I am, as always, Grand Pause.
Big Cheese.
Ivory Starlight.
Holding on. Tell me when to do it again.
Just you.
Can they hear you now? Oh, this is amazing.
Is this okay? There we go. Yes, OBS did a thing because Windows messed with my audio again, and computers were a mistake. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
It's Windows' fault.
No, this actually happens every time you do a Windows update. It screws with all the audio devices.
It does, it's true.
Anyway,
That being said,
we're good. Okay, so.
I was going to say, that's what happens when we don't stream for like a month.
Well, that's what happens when I don't update my computer for 2 months.
That too. But we're back from Ciderfest almost a month ago now. And at the risk of continuing to harass the same person, guess what's still not up on Reddit?
Fluttershy?
No, Fluttershy is on Reddit.
She gets posted like every day. Still not enough.
Just not in the CCG Reddit. I'm sure / My Little Pony posts Fluttershy every day.
I wonder if we'll have an opportunity to talk about Fluttershy today. We very well might.
Yeah, we do. Spoilers.
Clearly not.
I was being intentionally vague.
And then I just went and did it.
Yeah, you did. Cool. Well, fun killer. Killer of fun.
No, I think that title probably actually goes to you, but we'll talk about that. Hey, more spoilers.
What? Alright. Well, it's been long enough that we still want to get an opportunity to talk about the fun experience we had at Ciderfest. Thank you to Joking Luna for putting on some great events. We were glad to participate and glad to see such tremendous attendance from people, literally matching that of Continentals. So, good show, Midwest.
Yeah.
You've made things significantly more complicated for next year. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Don't you know?
Don't you know? Even if you still don't know how to make an old-fashioned.
That's just Wisconsin, though.
And that's where we were. And I'm still going to take the shot.
Are you?
Well, not if they offer it to me.
Okay, anyway, so we're talking about Ciderfest events with the very large turnout. And, we should, as we do, talk about what happened during those events.
Yep. There were 3 events overall, but 2 of which were constructed, so that's what we're going to be focusing on since we actually had deck lists for these.
Mm-hmm. The other event was a print and play sealed, which I believe is a perennial occurrence at this point. Unfortunately, we were not available for that one, which is annoying, because one of these days I'd like to try that and see how it works in person, but
Says
say la vie.
Says the person who literally has the draft simulator.
That's Hithrock and Smithers. I don't run that.
No. Well, you can generate sealed pools, so that's even more accurate.
True.
Anyway. You want to start with Harmony?
Yeah, let's start with Harmony.
Alright.
Let's harmonize our...
The last time we saw Harmony was at Everfree. We had 12 people for the event. We had 12 people at this one in Ciderfest as well, and there was a 5-way tie for first.
As you do.
Yep. At Everfree. And I think we saw a fair number of those decks come back here with a couple of tweaks. So let's see what we got.
All right, let's mix things up and let's go first. As you do. So, first place in Harmony. I see every pony shuffling
Yep.
Which is bad.
because I also
Okay.
see
In
surprise
this deck.
parties.
Why is this bad?
No, I said every pony shuffling is bad
I
in
mean,
this
yes,
deck.
every pony shuffling is bad in this deck.
Amazing.
I want you to think about those words and how they tasted.
It got sided out every match.
Every single match.
Because
But yeah.
if you draw it, you're not playing it.
It's Pile.
Piles back, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's like just fast enough.
There's potential to make it faster.
Yep.
Yeah, at least 2 cards potential.
Yep.
I mean, you could change a few other things, but
I
the
already
question
came
is-
up with a new list. We'll see how far Pile gets.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
How many years can I play Pile?
Keep it
Do I
going.
have to give up again?
all 2 Harmony events a year, how long will it take for Pile to be annoying enough to do something about?
Now, it's probably worth bringing up here. It was brought up on Meticulous Talk's stream the last time they covered Ciderfest. And it's an important thing for players to know, and that's a little bit about triggering conditions and then the resolution or processing of the trigger, and the difference between these two things.
We're going back to why the first every pony shuffle scores you 2 points rather than 1.
Right. So I'll give kind of the general rule overview, and then I'll let Cheese explain why this is important. So if you look at an ability like, let's look at Princess Twilight Sparkle Headmare. She says, when you play an event with cost 2 or less, if a player has 8 or more points, you may banish this card to copy that event's effects. The trigger condition of a card or of an ability is everything that comes before the first comma in that text. So in this case, the condition for Twilight's ability to trigger is when you play an event with cost 2 or less. That's it. That's the whole condition. This means that at the beginning of the game, every time you play an event, technically, there's a trigger from Twilight. The resolution is all the rest of the text. So, trigger gets processed, and then you check to see if a player has 8 or more points, and then if they do, you can choose to banish Twilight to copy the card's effects. Cheese, why does this matter?
Well, when you play Surprise Party, you can get basically the first time you play it, it's generally 4 points, and this is actually for the same reason. And that 4 points might bring you up to 8 points if you've been scoring points earlier. And as soon as you're at 8 points, then you can use Twilight Sparkle. So being able to use a single Surprise Party, then to be able to copy it, even though when you played it you weren't at 8, you were only at 8 after it processed.
Doggo.
Atlas likes Pile.
Yeah. And so that's a really important ability because you only have 3 Surprise Parties in the deck. You might draw into another one, but just being able to copy that first one is pretty impactful.
And it can really catch people off guard.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with Pile of Presence. The trigger is when an opponent draws a card during their main phase. Cool. So then you check, have you already drawn at least 4 cards? Well, it includes the one you drew. So
Triggers are processed after the thing that fired them happens.
yep.
That's also kind of spicy because you can do trigger ordering things there. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, copying that's also wild.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Breaking the Barrier explicitly says it has an other, so to make it like not count the card you just played.
Right. But yeah, new version of Pile. Doesn't even use every pony shuffling, just turning Surprise Party into an immediate speed event with breaking the barrier, and relying on Headmare to generate obscene numbers of points with Pile of Presence. Is a good time.
Yep.
Don't even need Penny Lane.
So what are you going to swap in for the two shufflings?
2 more, let's get this party started.
What is it? It's more party started, and there's some other changes.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
The one thing that kind of caught me off guard was, you think about having one Twilight in play, having Surprise Party there. If you're already at 4 points, right? You get Surprise Party, you go up to 8, your opponent goes up to 8 points, they banish Headmare, they go up to 14 points, and you're like, okay, well, it's still my turn, it's still my main phase, my opponent's at 14, maybe I can still end up winning. But all the other events that your opponent plays, all the other cards they play are also immediate, which means they can also have just drawn into a juggling routine and there's nothing you can do.
Yep. I've won a game with that.
You did. It was rude.
Yeah.
So, quite amusing. The real amusing thing is going to be when you choose to side out the juggling routine because that's not disrespectful enough, and we go back to Buried Dreams.
It only draws you a card.
Doesn't it draw both players?
No, it's just you. That would be so bad. 2 cost, 1 power, both players draw a card. Also has wreck.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, it doesn't have wreck, right?
No, it doesn't.
No, Blue Spike was the one that had wreck, but was just as useless.
Buried Dreams saw competitive play.
We're not. No, it saw a bad manner play. That's not competitive.
Okay, deck number 2.
Yeah, and as Prism Light points out, yeah, there's that Awizodal that restricts how many points players can score in a single turn.
Yeah, there's lots of counters to
add a speed bump.
Again, and this is something that we saw quite a bit at the tournament. And just a personal note here, my opinion, it does not do any good after a game is complete to sit there and talk about all the possible cards that can stop an interaction that you just saw because you didn't have them or you didn't play them. We can sit here and go down a rabbit hole for an hour on cards that can disrupt particular strategies. If you can't build a deck to reliably use them, then those cards might as well not exist. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Meta surprises are surprising. Speaking of not having any fun.
Fun is a zero-sum game.
Okay, that's fair. This is a mill deck. Look at all this milling.
The deck where you're not winning, your opponent is losing.
Exactly.
Yeah, this just has all the usual suspects here, and I think this looks fairly similar to the mill decks of Core.
It is
Pun.
It is exactly like the mill decks of Core with slight quantity changes on a couple of cards, because you can just play 3 gyros.
Yeah, and you're taking advantage of some of the older things that you don't normally get to play with in Core. Hearts, gyro.
Right. The Core mill deck looks completely different. The Core mill deck doesn't go deep on songs, or at least doesn't go deep on Octavia and Twirling Tunes, because it can't rely on Heartstrong Horses and Spectacle. As a consequence, the Core mill deck also doesn't have nearly as much hand disruption currently as this version does. And that's kind of the thing that makes this deck even remotely function, is if you are not drawing a bunch of your mill cards, you can still rip your opponent's hand to shreds, and that can stall for enough time. The other thing that makes this count is So you remember that card Legacy Leech? They let you banish any number of cards, and then like you gain action tokens for each event banished that way. We're like, wow, that's way too strong. Let's just print Spirit Siphon instead. And Spirit Siphon just, was capped and cost 3, and we're like, well, this isn't any good. No, it's good.
It's still good.
It's really good.
It's just not as good.
It's very powerful. The good news is, if you are playing against a mill deck, if your opponent is in Adventure or Harmony and reveals there's a spell for that and starts going into Orange and starts messing with mill at all, you can basically do whatever you want on your turn because they're not going to interact.
Make those DFOs count.
Yep. And you better get them in while you can because you're going to start flipping 0 cards very, very soon. Anyway, mill is mill. Octavia is silly. Race's Barn continues to be a very good card. I like putting power counters on my main. That's all I got to say.
Nice. Just since I don't think we called these out, the previous deck was Big Cheese, this is Grand Pauses. And this is important because number 3, take the transition, thank you, is a perfect copy, I believe, of Cheese's deck.
Yes,
Piloted by Godfrey.
we ran identical lists. Pile, pile, pile. That's all I got to say about this. Everything else was said previously.
And I think your only loss was against me?
Yep. I only lost against you.
Pile, pile, pile. That's 4 points, 8 points.
4 points, 12 points.
It's kind of hard to win when you draw no surprise parties. And my opponent draws, what? How many did you get? Like 4? Because you juggling routines and got another one?
I don't remember. I got the cards, though.
Cheese always gets the cards he needs.
Dies to RNG.
Anyway, next deck.
Okay. In 4th place, this is Golden Note, which appears to be a copy of GP's mill deck.
Yeah, we're pretty sure we don't have the 100% certainty to confirm the list here, but my understanding was that Golden Note ran the same list and just chose different cards to sideboard. The quantities may be slightly different, but I know there are no cards missing, and I know there are no new cards that were added to it, so it's close enough.
Mill is mill.
Mill, mill, mill.
Yeah.
Make some flour.
Yeah. Next deck.
Alright, 5th place, Brandon Pagano with something that we've seen a similar... I forget where we saw this last, but we've seen this before.
Ciderfest last year.
Yellow perp.
With
And
some
pink, apparently.
Oh, there is pink.
It can have a little pink as a treat.
Yeah.
And a little white as a treat.
I mean, the white's pretty important here.
Is that the bedtime? Yeah.
Yes.
This is a bedtime deck.
So bedtime is one of those fun things that when it hits the field, you know you're in for a ride. Your stuff's going to be removed.
It's just a matter of how hard is it going to be removed.
So, this has Yona, an Unsat, and Beavers,
And Sanctuary Scuffle.
Stop
and
short.
Big Mix-Up.
It's got Nurse Redheart.
Oh yeah, Redheart. Forgot about her.
It's got AT Disruption through Philomena and Incriminating Evidence, and Sunburst.
And some AT Generation from several of those cards. So,
And because this is Harmony, there's Day Shift.
because of course.
So in this list, and then you've got AT loss off of Fluttershy the main, who is draining AT at the start of problem face-offs, and power reduction with her calming. So we've got an AT disruption, power shrinking, friend bouncing, card banishing, resource generating mid-range. I'm going to call this mid-range. I would call it control, but it has day shift. But it only has 2 day shifts, so maybe it's still control.
If you don't know, it's mid-range.
Yeah, something like that. And I think that you could probably go and grab any 2 of those strategies or any 2 of those tactics and see a pretty noticeable impact in terms of the deck's performance in Harmony, at least. In Adventure, I think there'd be quite a lot of fun going on. There'd be a few cards you'd have to drop, but not a whole lot. But I think the overall outcome of this was that the deck was trying to do so many different things to be prepared for so many different matches that the matches that it should have had its best matchup against were reduced in consistency slightly. And that's always the trade-off, right? You always trade off consistency for flexibility.
Mhm.
Yep. Not as much as you used to with sideboarding.
That being said, if you didn't have a means of disrupting this deck or stopping it from getting off the ground,
You were going to have a bad time.
correct. So just don't ever let it play friends to begin with.
Yeah, save your resource removal here. This has
I
a
didn't
lot
have-
of targets.
I didn't even see how much resource removal there was. That's a lot.
Yeah. This has just a billion different resources, and basically all of them are threats. The problem is you need to look at some of these and go, okay, that's a threat, but it's not the biggest possible threat, because if that bedtime comes down, you need to deal with that.
Anyway, good to see Ambassador back making a return to the competitive scene. Was quite a shock to see her previously. Fun to see her now.
Okay, let's see. Next. Wrong button. Whatever. Got it done. Kevin with a breezy deck. Breezies.
I love how your voice slowly dropped as you said
Breezies.
Look, there are not that many cards in this deck. You can look at this for 5 seconds and figure out what's going on.
Breezies.
Yeah, there's breezies, so you already know that somehow you're winning the game off of them, and then you're like, okay, Magic of Friendship grows, got it.
There it is.
All right. That's yeah.
I have breezed. Now what?
This is a very, like, zero nonsense way to build a combo deck. It's like, here's the combo pieces, I'm just gonna keep drawing cards, or you'll win before I get everything. If I get everything, I win.
We could sit here and look at the support card selection, look at the card draw and the tutoring with friendship summons,
All 2 of them.
the protection with the vote and desert road as the choices, the color entry with not even rushed makeover but fire of friendship and rainbow generator. You sit here and no bloodstone scepter.
No. Like, I've got to admit, this is very, very clear on what it wants to do, and it doesn't get all weirdly creative about it. It's just like, all right, here's the deal.
I'm going to run the best tools to do this thing, and I'm going to run the best tools to protect me against other things, and I'll just figure out the color later. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Get breeze bugged?
But I respect the play. Like, you're doing Magic of Friendship grows in Harmony, and you're bringing out breezies.
Yeah.
Are there other ways you can use that card? Sure, but you get to play breezies.
This is a great taste and an okay taste, and they taste great together.
Yeah, this is fine. Respect the play.
Yeah.
Person Light says no Fluttershy. That is correct. There is, in fact, no Fluttershy, and I would argue the reason for that is that of the support tools that we have here, we have pink, blue, white, orange, and purple, and there's no yellow in the support.
Yeah, having to pay an additional one just to get into yellow, nah.
I mean, you have to look at this a little bit differently. Can this effectively score points by confronting? I don't think it can.
No, it cannot.
Okay, so see, you only need 15 points. If you throw Fluttershy in here, getting to 12 points as opposed to, 10 isn't meaningfully different.
Right.
It still needs a lot of AT to win.
It does.
You do still need a tremendous amount of AT to win. So, Kevin, if you're here, or if you see this later, please tell us, how did you win? I would love to hear it.
It's 18 AT just on the Magic of Friendship. And
that is not counting color entry.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Oh wait, no, it is 18 on the Magic of Friendship.
Yeah.
Why is Headmare in here?
I don't know. She is a Twilight and technically can copy Tranquility, and that's the best I got.
Maybe for the
copying
friendship
Tranquility.
She can copy Tranquility, she can copy Party,
I mean,
she
sure,
can copy...
she can copy things, but I don't know. Maybe Kevin can answer that better.
Now every deck I see, I'm like, recipe research makes this better. Yeah, I know, right?
You
didn't realize you wanted Starlight until you couldn't have Starlight. Also, there's not nearly enough unicorns.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, how are you gonna copy with that?
Correct. Animoy, the correct answer is, now every deck I see, I'm like, Octavia makes this better. Just play more songs.
Something, Miss Main.
No songs.
All right, next deck.
All right.
This is the same deck we've seen for the past.
No, he changed it up. Grubber's in here now. Grubber was not in here before.
Grubber,
I think it was.
It has been. The Double Trouble Tempest Grubber thing is a staple of Sokol's this particular blue deck.
Seleno does Seleno things. Blue go fast. Also some troublemakers. How many years have we been reviewing this same list of 45 cards? Since like 2020.
When did Friends Forever come out?
2019.
Yeah.
So that many years.
2 years.
4 years.
2 years. It's currently
4
March.
Oh my
1200
god,
something.
No.
So yeah, same thing. Continues to get good placements. Don't change what works.
Made top 8. All right, one more.
Okay. Hithrock.
I was gonna say, I wonder who piloted this.
Well, I mean, Hithrock is not going to be my first call because there's only, hold on, one Trixie? That's not enough Trixies.
Well, it's not GP and it's not Cheese, and out of everyone who played in this event,
there's only
the
one
other person I could see doing this is Hithrock.
There's only one that's mad enough to do this.
Yeah.
This deck was forced upon Hithrock because I received a message from Hithrock 12 hours before I was set to leave for Ciderfest, and he was like, "Hey, I saw you asking if anyone needed cards. Can you build me this deck?" And linked his invitational, ridiculous, like, Silverstream jank list that doesn't even closely resemble any deck that I've ever constructed or will ever construct. And I looked at this and was like, no, I will not build you this deck.
That deck is so stupid.
I will build you something else. And I built him this, and he was a good sport, and he ran it.
I mean, he didn't have much of a choice, did he?
No, he didn't. I bullied him into running this deck. But he seemed to have fun. And the magic of friendship, or the magic of adventure, is actually real strong in harmony with lunch break.
Oh, when you can, for one token, basically hit the lunch break wreck.
Correct.
It's not bad.
And it's an event, and you can use it to search for stuff. And so, like, yeah, it's just good.
Oh god.
Plus,
Are we entering the era of the +1/+1 fixers again? I don't want to go back. You can't make me go back.
We still have to print the other two. I can make you go back.
I don't want to go back. I mean, I have the designs and art for those done.
I know. I have the physical cards done.
I have no idea where mine are.
Can't make me go back. I won't go back.
They're somewhere.
Anyway, turns out without being able to copy lunch break, there's, you're not going to be sitting there taking like 4 extra turns, right? Wrong! He still managed to do so against Anemoy both times with recipe research and copying lunch break and going into another lunch break and taking like 4 turns in a row. So maybe that's why Anemoy says now every deck I see, I'm like, recipe research makes that better. Yeah, if I had my opponent take 4 turns against me after Starlight was banned because of recipe research, I might think so too. Way to be a good sport about it, though.
We should just ban purple.
Purple was barely in the top deck.
We should ban purple. There will be no opposition for Pile.
All beavers pile. It'll be fun.
Stick abuse.
Pile runs white now for Winks.
Beaver your pile? What?
He's talking about the Beaver's immediate 1 cost go away resource.
I'll run, I don't know, something, whatever. Anyway, it was Harmony. A couple of decks that we saw at Everfree previously, and some new ones. And Sokol's list.
Just throwing shade.
I mean, in a saucy mood. It's fine.
All right, fair enough. So, core.
So core.
All right, we had what was core? Core was.
It was core.
16.
16.
Yeah, 16 players.
All right. Well,
we had like an undefeated and then like 4 ties or 3 or something.
I think there were technically 2 undefeateds, but there was an error in the inputting of the
challenge. And this is why we have match slips.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our.
Say it.
No.
I want you to say it.
It's Ivory with the.
I'm not saying anything until you say the proper name.
Ivory with the traitor.
Fine. This is Thorax Mono Yellow, unchanged from Continentals, because
don't change what works.
I didn't see a point. It's still just stupid. You just adoption options and get the 3 best critters in the deck, and then you're like, okay, time to create 30 critters and have Thorax be its stupid power that I will only track if it matters.
Thorax is a stupid deck.
This is a really fun deck to play.
So when we ban like 5 cards out of this, what are you going to be most sad to see leave?
I don't know.
Don't say Gummy.
Yes, Gummy is clearly the problem here.
Yeah, put friends into play for free. Every card that you get to put into play for free is cheating.
It's all cheating.
Yeah. Thorax gets big and scores many points, and swaying the sea ponies is eternally aligned against me and will only come up when I start a problem face-off so that my opponent can immediately respond.
As you do.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Okay, so Bug is big.
Bug is big.
I wish Yona was a critter so that she could also count towards birds of a feather.
Disgusting.
Thorax should also count as a critter.
Also featherweight. He's the size of a critter. Also, Eager's dumb.
Also, I think it cares about how many critter friends, not characters, but featherweight is a critter.
I mean, featherweight is there because Eager, and if you have a featherweight in your opening hand,
It's
pretty
critical.
sure I'm pretty sure 99.9% of the time you just keep the hand, regardless of what else is there.
Eager is
doubling
kind
the
of
number
dumb.
of cards you draw on this deck is just ridiculous.
I still remember when Eager stacked, and that was even more dumb.
Yeah, it changed real fast.
Yes, it did. Anyway, Bug does bug things. Next deck. Didn't we just see this? I mean, you basically saw it. This has one important change, though.
More Trixies.
More Trixies.
There's a lot of important changes.
It no longer has
It's
harmony
also
cards.
it's also not entirely the same deck.
Yeah, it doesn't have gyros anymore.
Yeah.
The problem deck's completely different. Actually, no, the problem deck's almost exactly the same.
See, but none of that matters. The important thing is it has 2 Trixies.
It does have 2 Trixies. And yet again, Anemoy ran against this, and yet again, the lunch breaks came to play. Good
This
sport.
feels like targeted harassment.
It's not. I just remember Hithrock apologizing to him for the entire weekend about this because, it was the only time he did it in the whole tournament. Or in the whole con.
Hithrock is targeting Anemoy. This is the truth. No one can refute it.
Hithrock is bullying.
I mean,
Prismlight said I made him beat me without lunch break. That's like I blocked it with my body.
you face tanked it?
My body as a shield all over again.
Right.
Okay, so more lunch break shenanigans is the TLDR.
Yeah, getting up to 3 copies is really important in here. Losing Starlight means you can't rely on just absurd AT generation with Tranquility. You can do well, but it can't do as well as it used to. And so Miss Main will help, but it's turned kind of more aggro thanks to Luster. Luster Dawn's a good card.
Yeah.
Why does purple have all these good 2/02s? You got Luster Dawn, you got Princess Twy, you got Bon Bon that played well with Maud back in the day because she was an Earth Pony. We got Magical Pony. Am I missing anything?
Probably.
The professor.
I said Professor.
Didn't you?
Pony.
Am I missing anything relevant? It's all pretty good.
All more reasons to ban purple.
I'm fine with that. We can ban purple in core.
Womp. Okay, let's talk about the goat.
Was Aloysius 3AT? Yes, Aloysius was 3AT.
Are you sure this is the goat or not the garble?
Garble is the goat.
The garble of all time.
Why can't I garble all these troublemakers? Oh wait,
Use a tray.
I can.
And you did.
And I did. I garbled some number of these troublemakers. I also garbled many cards in people's hands. Turns out using Garble in conjunction with Big Hoof, in conjunction with Power Play,
Becomes a big oof.
becomes a big oof when your opponent is sitting there with 8 cards in hand and you're like, well, we can't have that.
The biggest oof of all time.
And by the end of your turn, they are at 0 cards in hand. You've used like every extra flip resource you have, but I mean, now they
Do
have
you
no
care?
hand.
They have 0. They have to draw cards to get back up to 8. That's 8 AT they have to spend. Well, 7 if they do it all in the next turn.
Hashtag just garble things.
Yeah, basically. It works.
It's gross.
Yeah. This was fun. Garble is a fun card. Big Hoof is good. Power Play is good. Like it's fine. It does well. It's gonna have problems against a deck we're gonna see here very shortly. If there's something that goes fast, you will have a bad time. But if anything needs to set up, and there are quite a few cards or quite a few decks that do, you can see. Keep the Apple Blooms in here as long as Bug is big. If Bug is big, you're going to have a bad time. So make Bug big, but also sleepy. And apart from that, yeah, just never flip Rogar. What? Don't flip him.
Look at this useless ability.
Right.
Amazing.
Yep.
Anyway, so if you're going to go ahead and mill, you should definitely not do it to the next deck.
No.
Seems bad. In fact, I think this next deck would actually prefer if you milled a little bit, help it get to its win con.
Yeah.
Just don't mill too much. You do actually need to have those still partyings.
There's a few important cards in this deck. But yeah, this is just still partying. It's mostly relying on Gabby to get rid of cards. But in general has a lot of card draw. And then lunch break for just the extra card draw, really. There's a decent amount of start of turn drawing in the deck.
And if you have multiple Gabbies, you could potentially go through your entire deck in a couple turns and your opponent doesn't get one.
Yeah. I mean, this deck, like, if you can confront and play a lunch break on the same turn, then like you're in a really good spot. The deck is a little slow to start up, but
I mean, that's common with pink-blue.
I don't know. Proper pink-blue feels like it can explode. This deck is like, it can be real slow. It's a little bit of a problem, but
I mean, that's...
I think that the traditional Cadence Blue list is definitely much faster than this is.
yeah.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. But this one can just sit there, and where traditional Cadence Blue occasionally has to go, okay, bank and pass, and you're not worried about it. This deck sits there, draws 4 cards at the start of its turn, banks, and you're like, I don't like this.
It's like, I have 1 turn left.
This is the Ralph Wiggum. I'm in danger.
Yeah, I mean, I've had games where I had like 20-something cards left and still won before my opponent took another turn.
Yeah, because you took 4 extra turns.
You can only take 2 extra in this deck.
All right, you took 2 extra turns. It felt like 4 extra turns. He had some clever plays over the course of the tournament, though. The Gallus play was still pretty good, so. Getting the move for the confronts.
Oh, yeah.
That was good. Yeah. It is surprising, number 1, how slow this deck actually is out the gate, and number 2, how much you still manage to end up putting up W's with it.
Yeah, I don't understand actually why. Because like beginning of my games always feel so bad, but then it just like manages to do something stupid.
So this is a tempo deck. It sits there and dirtles for a while, and then it's like, all right.
I don't know what this deck is. There's probably a more optimal version, or maybe it needs some different cards or something, but it's...
Well, I'm pretty sure this version is optimized for invitationals. I'm sure there are different cards you would have, especially in the problem deck, had you not made it in invitationals legal.
Yeah, I think there was something different that you can do.
Buckball would be nice. Lacking might be nice, yeah. But no coward play here. Cheese is not a coward.
You have 2 discords, although I sided them out most games. But, like... Also, you don't really double confront with this deck.
Right. No, it makes sense.
You're saying there are mitigating options for being not a chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got?
More bug.
This, I believe, was the other undefeated, so all I'm hearing is Thorax wins.
I'm not okay with this.
This is mostly the same as the one I used. There's a couple differences in card numbers, but
Yeah, there's no Gargoose in here.
no guard geese and no angel horsing around.
Oh yeah.
I think everything else is the same.
Yeah, I think you ended up just having a handful of other little one-of utility cards to help out.
Coaster says it's funny because I almost beat the person running this and then I got 0-4. Oof. There's nothing worse than going up against opposing aggro decks and getting so close. That's a tough one.
Large oof.
Big bug-sized oof.
Well, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to fall all the way to the bottom.
What do we got? 2 left?
3.
3 left. All right, let's see them.
This one's mine. Cadence Blue. I think I've discussed this one to death. It still feels very temperamental. It either doesn't do anything and then you just die, or you get a stupidly explosive start.
Yeah, I know what that feels like sitting on the other side of the table.
I did something that ended up with like a turn 1 DFO. Was that it? Or like a turn 2 DFO? It was dumb.
Angel Wings enables stupid plays.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't feel like this deck should ever be slow.
Yeah, this doesn't scream slow deck to me.
Like I said, it's temperamental.
There are occasionally times when you're going to keep an opening hand that's like double Party Mirror and you play him to home. And that takes time to ramp up, but it's almost more terrifying than like the, all right, I've blown my entire hand, Angel Wings.
Yeah. My opponent does that, I'm like, I guess it depends if I have removal. It's like if I have a removal heavy deck, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, the two
Otherwise...
The 2 party mirrors, if they go unchecked, will very quickly accidentally win you the game. Just don't know when.
I don't know.
How many times did the Wrath of Gilda happen?
Did you not side it out every game?
No, I don't generally like sideboarding, so it was generally in, and I think I played that a couple of times. I had some incredibly convoluted line of play that involved flipping a Wrath and then dumping a Gallison Silverstream into play, and that was the second card somehow, so I don't like thinking that much. This deck is bad at making me think.
You should definitely be playing Thorax Mono Yellow if you don't want to think. You just play the dumb cards
No, but that makes me think. That makes me think I'm a traitor to the hive. I'm a traitor to the hive. I'm a chicken. Because I'm not running I'm not running that problem. I'm nobody's fool. I'm a chicken. Fuck.
We gotta find something to replace DJ Pwn 3, though. There has to be something we can switch that out for.
Yeah, that did feel bad. Anyway. 7th? Yeah, 7th place. We've looked at this exact list for the past 4 years.
Yep. All right.
It continues to do okay placements. Don't change what works. Finally, Prism Light. I like this list. You know why I like this list? Because it's got Queen in it.
It does have Queen in it. It's there to punish all those greedy multicolored decks in a Thorax meta.
It's not technically a Thorax meta if only 2 people ran it. Or did more? No, 3 people ran it. I forgot. I think there was one other.
Bite also ran it, yeah.
Meta deck.
Prism Light continuing on the traditional big orange path. Things you would expect to see: Catajack, Rescue Party, Limestone, Tempest for cost discount, Torch, Garble. All of that is fantastic. Stunt Dive to help you DFO more efficiently. Desert Road, you can find it if you want to flip Grogar. You might actually flip Grogar in this list because you've got a lot of friends.
I believe that the idea is to flip Grogar here in this particular list.
Now, Prism Light, I think the one question that came up during the Meticulous Talk stream that I wanted to ask about here now as well is, you've got all these cards, you've got the strategy that's very apparent, you've got the orange events that are, synergizing very well with Apple Bloom to help you control. What are the Rock Turrets doing in here?
I'd imagine they're just milling, right?
But they are the only mill. There's not even Raise This Barn.
But they mill.
I got tired of flipping 2s and had a 9-point turn in testing. I mean, sure, yeah. If you test it in solitaire and you end up with a game that goes long enough, I guess the question would be, who are you milling? Are you milling yourself or are you milling your opponent? Because I feel like with Tempest, you're actually going to be faster going for yourself.
That would be spicy.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
that would
valid
be really spicy.
That's a valid strategy.
With a flipped Grogar too.
Yeah,
It's a valid strategy. Don't knock it.
that's just what I'm wondering. There's kind of a mentality that I think we've touched on this before. Maybe no, you don't have to change it back. I was just curious.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of other fun things going on here, because the Rock Turret with Tempest also means you can look at your top deck and just be like, I really don't want to see that right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And then you Rock Turret, and then you get something else.
Yeah, there is some synergy in here. That was a question, not a like rip this thing out of the list immediately type thing. It is good to see that there is additional synergy for the card beyond just a mill tool, because many times in card games, not just in MLP, but in other card games, you'll have an opponent who will have an effect that mills a couple of cards from you. And you'll sit there and you'll look at these cards. Like, this happens quite a bit in Hearthstone, for example. You'll look at these cards and say, oh man, they milled this card. Man, I really wanted this card. Mill is so disruptive. And the truth is that unless a game goes long enough to where one or more players have gotten through their entire deck, drawn it, milled it, something like that, there is no difference between a handful of cards being milled by an effect and that handful of cards just being the last ones on the bottom of your deck.
Right, like if you're getting mill from cards that you don't know what they are, you had the same odds of getting those that you did of having them milled. Like,
this is different for like Sweetie Belle, where that's actually chosen because now it's filtering. But for just unconditional discard, or not discard, sorry, mill.
Right, but you also need to not be deck setting, and that's like psychologically that takes a while to internalize because it still feels bad, but you have to sit there and be like, well, could have lost something else. You live by the RNG, you die by the RNG.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, just a thought.
Yeah. Big Orange. Does big orange things.
Sure does. All right. And we're almost through with invitationals after like 3 months of this, as soon as Bugle and I can get our last game in this week.
Clash of the Titans. Round 4?
3.
I mean, are we counting clashes from previous invitationals? Because it feels like this particular one is somewhat common.
Yeah, it comes up on occasion.
Would you care to describe the temperature of the time interval?
It's been like a lukewarm second.
I see.
Cold hour.
Cold hour. Left it out for too long.
Yeah.
Got to throw it in the microwave to heat it back up.
I'd say it's been a hot minute, but it has not been a hot minute.
Well, if it's small enough and you put it in a microwave for a minute, it'll be hot again.
This is true. Anyway, coming up, we've got Vancouver.
That's in a little over a month. That's real close.
It's real close. Hey, I wonder if they'll have a con schedule out.
Ouch.
I'm just kidding. We know they won't have a con schedule out.
just twist the knife, why don't you?
Okay.
They do it themselves.
Am I lying?
Yeah, I think the next major event is in fact Vancouver, but it's getting towards the end of year holidays. I think things are probably gonna cool down a little bit over the holidays, and then second week of January.
Did you book your flights yet?
No.
That's not fair.
You should probably book your flight.
I already did.
I don't have to book a flight.
Oh, that's true. Anyway, there will be a lot of fun coming. We are very, very close to the 10-year anniversary of the game. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And I'm sure we will have a stream about that and some noise about that coming soon.
Sometime next year.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, for the remainder of this year, what have we got to look forward to? I think we've got maybe the Invitationals match.
Yeah, we got the Invitationals match, and we got Yule Log, and what else?
I think that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up year 9 strong and get into year 10.
Yep.
Speaking of wrapping up, that will wrap up our discussion on Ciderfest for today.
Wrap it up like a present.
Yeah.
Like a pile of presents.
Like a pile of presents, baby. We'd like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, or email. If you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on Slack any day, anytime. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, linked just below the stream. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I'm, as always, Grand Pause.
Big G's.
Arquette and
Bugs, piles,
Bugs.
ivory starlight.
the bad kind of bug. The Crayola bug.
Pile of bugs.
Pile of very brightly colored bugs. This is why you can't find the changeling presents. They're all like camouflaged.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
But